All right, ready to clap? Do we have to clap at this? You clap, you're in, and then Jeff does some fancy audio things, right? Welcome to the Hit Factor podcast. I think we got it. It's perfect. Welcome to the Hit Factor podcast. You're joined by myself, Jay, and I forget because Jeff and Jeremy always do it. They're like, "Oh, hey, I'm Jay. I'm a grandmaster in optics," and then I'm joined by Potato, who is also a grandmaster.
I was going to say a master in PCC.
Oh, are you really a master in PCC? Well, that's very impressive.
Mm-hmm. I think by default, because I have 4 classifiers, but still.
Yeah, well, you have some classifiers, so that's pretty good. So that's what we're going to talk about today, classification stuff. And I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. I was looking at the floor and I see blood on the floor. Oh, it's because I stubbed my toe on the way down here. And I was, didn't
It's
realize
fresh blood.
it's fresh blood. I was like, where is this dripping from the ceiling? But it's just coming off of my toe. That's, wow. I was so excited to record that. I couldn't even feel pain. Pretty good.
I continued my tradition of dropping plates at the gym on my feet today. I really got to stop that.
Bad. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
So we've got so much to talk about in so little time.
Yeah, we really do, because we're going to recap all of our Florida training without Jed.
It's better this way.
It's just better this way. He just disagreed with us too much, and we can no longer communicate with him. So yeah, we're going to do that, and then we're going to talk about training just in general. I think really we're going to talk about training in general for 15 minutes, and it's going to be
perfect. Good. So what's the most exciting thing that you're noticing right now, like in the last 3 days?
I mean, the last 3 days is what I texted you about, but which is I want to. I'm still at this thing of getting my first run to be my quickest run, but as we've discovered, adding like this feeling of I'm going to go fast on this run does not produce a fast run. It produces like a lot of tension buildup and herky-jerky transitions and mistakes in the draw, like grabbing a weird grip. And so I'm approaching it a little bit differently and I've been getting this from doing lots of draw practice again, and getting a good firing hand grip is that I want my shoulders to be relaxed and I want to have a sense of calm. And I'm stealing this a little bit from you, but a sense of calm on my first run, and that results in a really good time. And then I am racing myself again as on my second run. It's a totally different run, but I'm running the same sequence again, and I'm seeing who wins. And it doesn't matter. I'm trying to do the best I can on both of those, but I'm seeing who wins, and I want the first run to win. But it's
you want J1 to be competitive with J2.
Yeah, and it's really, really challenging, and that's I think what's good about it. If I was doing one run and then changing something and then doing one run on something totally different, I wouldn't have that comparison. So that's what I want to do right now. I want to compare that right now, and that's been very beneficial in the sense of just I identify stuff that I want to get better at.
And that's actually an old Jeremy Hit Factor approach of using the second run to put pressure on the first run.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because it really does. Because it really does. Because if without the second run in place, I would just be like, whatever, who knows? And that's great too. Like that's fine. But the second run, knowing that like I'm gonna fix some things and put some more stuff together, I really puts pressure on the first run to be good, to be as good as it can be. Especially like I've been having an activator sequence in pretty much every run that I do, and so that has to be good. Like I have to get the targets in after the activator and hit the mover on the first run and do all that stuff the first time. And I don't always do it the first time.
I was playing with an activator sequence the other day with a really, really long from activation to exposure bobber. And so it was really long. And so then I stacked a lot of things between activation and the bobber, but I stacked just enough things that the only way I was getting 2 shots on the bobber were if everything happened exactly as programmed. Like the timing was very tight. Like it was, for me at this exact moment, it was doable if I did everything right. But that meant the firing hand met with the gun right. I drew to the spot I was looking on the activator, and then I was doing this wide transition, essentially 130 degrees over, and picking up a bunch of targets so I couldn't see the bobber, and then coming back to it. And so it took a tremendous amount of trust that I could shoot these 3 things over on the other side.
Yep.
And then when I looked back, the bobber would still be there. I'd transition to it and I'd shoot it. And so for me, that was a lot of fun. Is an activator sequence where I cannot see the activator. And I know what the timing is because I've done it a bunch of times. So the time is there. It's not a mystery. But I have to not rush these things and trust that I can sort of get back there. But I also have to do them immediately, right? I can't like linger on a sight picture. I no time for makeups. I can't over transition and come back because at that point I'm not going to make it. Anyway, it's been a really, really fun sort of exercise for myself.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, activating things in itself and just finding different ways you can do it, and then trying it one-handed and seeing if you can do the same thing that you did freestyle. Like all this stuff is really fun, and gets really challenging too. And this gets back to the thing that we talked about a while ago. Just if you have a moving target in play, you're forced to do things at a certain pace to get yourself to the moving target, and that has the potential to create like extra tension. So if I come into this position and I activate and I'm really tense, then I'm not going to be able to do everything the way that it's supposed to be done. So I was finding myself in the walkthrough on a few of these runs in where I'm coming to the same position essentially and doing the same activator sequence, but it's from a different direction or whatever. That in the walkthrough I have to remind myself of how I'm going to feel when I get there, of like, oh, my shoulders are going to be relaxed and I'm just going to activate, and then I can do this transition over here and get to the mover and not panic on the mover. Like I put 2 targets on the same one to come out, and it was really easy to just panic because you're like, oh no,
It's there, go.
yeah, when it's just like, okay, wait for that one's the one furthest back is gonna come out. I'll shoot that one first, and then I'll get the other one as it's going away. It's not crazy. It's at like 9 yards. It's fine. So I don't know. It's been good.
So you started off this by talking about there's a couple of cues you use to try and get the time you need on your first run so that it'll be competitive with your second run. And you were talking about sort of relaxing your shoulders for you specifically. And as I've mentioned before, I'm strung so tight and I vibrate at such a high frequency that telling myself to relax, I can't operationalize it. I don't even know what that feels like. So the thing I've been sort of holding on to achieve very, very similar goals is calm. And what I like about being calm is it's not a state, it's sort of an approach. And so when tension builds up inside an array or inside a position, I can calm down without sort of adjusting my optimal level of tension, right? So I don't like, again, where I get confused about relaxation is, well, I have to do something, right? Like there's some level of effort that's needed. And I struggle to parse that, right? Like I can't just lay there and do nothing. And the gun will actually shoot itself. And so again, this, it's just all language games. But for me, what calm has been doing for me is calm is really kind of a relationship between how I transition the gun and how I press the trigger. When I do those things calmly, I do them as fast as I can. I just do. Like that's calm.
Yeah. So that yes, that for you works, and it's not do things slowly and perfectly.
No,
Because
it's calmly, and I know what it feels like to be calm. And what I don't know is I don't know what it feels like to be calm in a match. And this is why I can't wait to start shooting matches this year, because I feel like I'm going to learn how to access that calmness mid stage. And again, this is not like a mental approach that I need to be calm at all times, or that there's no like time for maximum effort. It's just that my level of effort doesn't bring me the speed I want inside stages, positions, arrays. There's a level of effort that adds unnecessary inefficiency.
Yeah, and there's like the like you're talking about, there's an optimal level of effort, and that does not require you to inform yourself to produce a certain level of effort. And
It
and
it doesn't require me to have any thoughts or feelings about it at
no.
all.
And so because after shooting a little bit and getting warmed up, then I start to feel a certain way about what I'm going to do. And I was thinking about this the other day, and it's just the feeling of being warmed up, and I want to be able to do that in some kind of way before I shoot a stage at a match, and I'm not sure if I can get there directly from just doing draws for 5 minutes or something like that. I think it has to be a little bit more in context of what I'm actually going to be doing. So draws, I think it's got to be everything. Draws, reload, transitions that I'm forcing my eyes to look around, because I think there's an element of having my eyes be warmed up. Um, I don't I I'm really curious to look into that a little bit more, of how I can warm myself up and get the feeling that I have on my second run, on my first run, which I think ties to the idea of, well, I don't have to try to do anything here. I know I'm just going to do everything as quick as I can, but it doesn't sound like that. It just sounds like go.
Yeah, I'm just going to do everything, and then the only way I'll do it is as quick as I can. On my first run, it, there's a tendency that if I give myself the sort of wrong prescription, I can either be really tense and inefficient, or I can be really cautious and be really focused on sort of correct. And when I'm calm, I'm not doing either of those.
No, no.
And I've done I was shooting sort of simple, like challenging but very simple exercises yesterday, and what I found is when I hit sort of a plateau, it's like this is kind of what my working speed is right now. I could get a little bit more if I really calmed down the shooting.
Yeah. And it
And
sounds
like it sounds crazy, but and I don't mean pull the trigger slower, although I
no.
did pull the trigger slower. But that was not the input. Like that was the output. There's the output of a process of being calm, but it was, and I couldn't put a number on it too. I could say I split on open targets 200 slower, but I did everything else faster. And now I can't replicate that by walking up to a target and saying, "Oh, I'm going to shoot a 22 on this instead of a 20, and then everything
No, it
else will be
doesn't work.
better." Like
Doesn't work that
it's
way
an
either.
outcome. It's not an input. Like, but that's what I noticed on the timer. It's like, wow, I'm splitting on these open targets at whatever distance, 200 slower, but everything is faster.
Yeah, yeah. And that way you squeezed a little bit more out of something that you were running a few times and kind of like capped out, or you thought you did.
Exactly. It's like I thought I pushed it to a working speed. It's like I had my cold run speed, and now I'm sort of working on this, and I've gotten, and sadly, I wish this wasn't true. I've gotten 10% off my cold run speed to this working
Yeah,
speed,
no. Yep.
and I'd love that to be 2%, but it was 10%, and now I can't. What can I do besides miss to get more time? And it turns out if I really, for me, focus on that sense, that feeling like of my eyes and my hands being calm, shooting calmly. Again, like my movement will be whatever, but my eyes and my hands are calm. Like there's enough time for me to look where I want the sights to go, and there's enough time for the gun to return, and I don't have to help it.
Yeah, yeah. I've experienced this in a way that is not. I don't. I haven't thought about it in the way that you're describing it at all, really. But it'll be like I pause for a little bit to load mags or pick up brass or do something else, and then I come back and I run the thing that I was running, and it's like a half second faster, and I hadn't been able to do that at all prior to that. and it was some type of reset there that just allowed, and there was no trying there. It wasn't like I'm going to draw faster on this target to shave the time down, because I already tried that um, by that point, and it was just, and it'll be a big jump in what was preceded by lots of the same times, and with
Yeah, I
no.
think that's exactly it. And I think you're just sort of intuitively taking that break or sort of defocusing for a moment, picking up brass, stuffing mags, whatever it is, pasting targets, and then coming back to it lets you sort of execute the thing freshly without the expectations or the effort.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
mean, time consciousness is this big enemy. And this is what I really did get. And sorry to bring up Florida, but this is what I
yeah.
really got from our Florida training
How dare you?
was um, how detrimental my awareness, my like in the moment judgments of my shooting can be,
Hmm.
and how common they are, and how often I just live with them and then I get what I get. But if I want to do better with what I have, then letting go of those in the moment judgments.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the biggest things that I learned from Jed. Both while we were training, observing Jed like push himself really hard to draw fast, and what that did, because he felt like there was a time expectant thing there. But more so watching him like at the match that we shot, and just watching him just shoot the stage. And
He just did the things and it was wicked fast, like without
yeah,
any of the extra effort. And I don't mean he didn't put in the effort on the programming front, or like he
no,
didn't
no.
plan a wide transition. Of course he did, but his actual shooting, it was like really calm, clean shooting, and it was wicked fast.
It was really
And
fast.
I
And this,
and I put so much extra in that I was swinging the gun past where I wanted it to, or my feet were sort of out of position. And then I was thinking about it. It was like, oh,
Mhm.
my feet are out of position. And then,
Yeah, yeah. And this is a match that Jed won overall by quite a bit, um, by just doing what Jed does. And so like there was a big lesson from that. And whether it's good that Jed's not here, because he can't be like, yeah, but blah blah blah. But like what we saw was Jed just shooting the stage, and it was just shooting the stage really quickly, without, like, he did not look overly tense or anything like that. I have a video of him shooting the first stage that we shot, um, and it was just like, that's just really good. and
and the flavor of that match is it's pretty flat target presentations. There's not a lot of depth change. There's not a lot of technical complexity. There's some positional, like some tight positions for your body in space, but the shooting was really, really simple.
Mhm.
And when the shooting gets simple, my desire to complicate it
Yeah, it's
increases.
like, let me make this really challenging so that I feel like this is challenging.
I can't just shoot the gun. I've got to, like, there's got to
No,
be
no.
more here. And I think on a really complex layered stage where the stage puts a lot of cognitive demands on you, then you feel productive processing all of that beforehand, when you're programming, and then while you're shooting. And when the shooting gets really simple, it's easy for me, at least, to not shoot optimally because I add all of this extra stuff to it. And so it was really cool to see Jed just do what the task demands. And in
Just
those sort of
that.
simple flat stages, they don't have room for you to cover up one error by excelling somewhere else.
No,
Any time you've lost is just gone,
no.
because everybody else can do all of the other things just as fast as you can.
Yeah, so Jed just did the stage without doing anything extra. And it was very simple. And I mean, like we've said this several times at this point, very simple, very quick, very accurate.
Yeah,
All at once.
all at once. Turns out you shoot more points per second than you win. And this was in the context of a shooting, like pretty high volume, um, uh, often technically challenging arrays.
Mhm.
So it was.
In the day before, we were shooting swingers at 40 yards, a partial at 30 yards, lots of like running up, like weird entries, things like that. I don't know. It was,
Lots of challenging exits. I mean, we really spent a ton of time on one of the hardest exits in the sport, which is a tight partial exit. after simple shooting. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the hardest things to do, is shoot a bunch of close things and then shoot something really far away and high risk. And we saw that last year at CO Nationals, right? Like that exact challenge ate half the field's lunch.
Hmm.
Like really good shooters struggled with that. It's
Yeah,
a hard thing to do.
shoot like a lot of really close paper while you're moving, and then stop because you have to, and shoot a 30-yard partial, and then like run again really hard.
Yeah, and then move really quickly. And again, like that exact, sort of stage 10, stage 18, or stage 20 scenario at CONET last year was challenging for lots of people. So it's a good thing to practice, but it was not tested in the match we shot.
No.
And what Jed was able to do is he was able to sort of just shift from what we were practicing to what the stage demanded. And I came into the stages with everything we'd been practicing, looking for a way to make it harder
Yeah,
than it
and
was.
whenever like I try, this is it's a great reminder, like whenever I'm tempted to look for something to look for something to do on a stage, like that's not the way to approach it. It's like, here's the stage. What does the stage need from me to then connect everything together in a reasonable way without me doing any extra? And
Right. I mean, we don't need to look for places to wide transition. We don't need to look for
no,
places to track. We don't need to look for places to shoot on the move. We don't need to look for places. Like, honestly, we don't need to look for any places. We need to sort of see what's there and then shoot it really quickly, accurately enough.
yeah. Well, I've just realized the time. We've rambled on for such a long time, and I don't think I mean, I think we've covered everything. I don't think there's anything else left.
Yeah, we've lost any listeners we had.
Yeah, I mean, we've rambled for, at this point,
23
22,
minutes.
20, I was going to say 22 hours. Yeah, it's been a little while, so I think we'll wrap this up, and then people will have to wait another couple weeks for Jeff and Jeremy, you know? There are other people. There are really other people that I want to talk to. I just really like going to bed early, and I know these people live in places that they're not gonna want to record at 6 p.m. But that's okay. Anyway, we'll wrap it up right there. Unless there's anything else you want to add, Saul. Nothing. Nothing. The end.
We're good here. We're good here.
Okay. Bye.